All right, welcome to Article of the Week number 4. The topic of this article is bullying, and this article is a lot more serious than the previous articles that we've read. It's a very important topic that I'm glad that you are going to be reading this week, and we're going to be studying all the different parts of it, okay? So make sure that you have your copy of the Cornell notes pulled up, and you should have your paper copy of the article at your desk. So if you can't see the text on the screen, you can certainly look at your copy of the article on paper. Your Cornell notes have been set up for you just like usual. We have an introduction, and then we have 1, 2, 3 different sections, and then at the end we're going to write an objective summary using the name it, verb it, central idea organizer for your topic sentence, and then 3 key details. So that's what we're going to be working on. Let's preview the article. On the front page, you can see it has a fairly long introduction, and then here's the first section, what the experts say, and then some statistics, which is a nice text feature to help support the information in the article. And on the back, we have our second section, what the bullies say, and then the third section, what the targets say, with 2 other text features. We have an infographic defining what bullying is with examples, and then we have a list of things that you can do to help stop bullying, to be an upstander instead of a bystander. We'll talk more about that when we get to the end of the article, okay? So go ahead and get ready to type your Cornell notes. I'm going to pause after each section so that you can type in, and I'll probably do the first section with you, and then I'm going to let you do the rest on your own, but we'll still read the article together. All right, according to the American Psychological Association, and that's the APA, bullying is a form of aggressive behavior in which someone intentionally, that means on purpose, and repeatedly causes another person injury or discomfort. A bully usually will pick on a peer that he or she views as less powerful in some way. The target, or the person who is bullied, typically does nothing to invite the bullying. Bullying can often be misunderstood. In order for behavior to be considered bullying, it must contain 2 things. First, it must include an imbalance of power. One student feels more powerful than the other. Second, the behavior must be repetitive. It may have happened more than once or have the potential to happen again. Bullying can happen when someone is physically or verbally harmful, spreads rumors, makes threats, or excludes someone from a group intentionally. It can happen on a school playground, a bus, in a neighborhood, and online. All right, we're going to stop there because it's time to write down a few key details in our notes for this introduction. And I'm going to start off with the definition of bullying. I think that's a good detail to include. Let's go ahead and get in the title. Don't forget, titles of articles like this are always placed in quotes, and make sure you have proper capitalization. And the author is not listed here, so we'll just leave it as NA. It means there's nothing there, not applicable. All right, introduction. Let's go back and look at that definition. It is aggressive behavior and that it's intentional and repeated. So I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not copying word for word. Bullying is intentional. That means on purpose behavior. Intentional aggressive behavior. That is, I think, repeated and causes that's our definition. Bullying is intentional, aggressive behavior that is repeated and causes injury or harm. There are a few other details that I think are important to type into our notes. and for a behavior to be considered bullying, it has to have an imbalance of power, and it also has to be repetitive. To be considered bullying, it must have, one, an imbalance of power, and two, let me make sure I've got this right, repetitive. That means it's repeated over and over and over. And then I believe that bullying can be, let's put some examples of bullying. And at the very end, there's a list. Rumors, threats, excluding someone intentionally. Okay, it's physical harm. Some people think it's just physical harm, but it's also these other things. Rumors, that's considered bullying. Threats, saying you're going to do something to them. You might not do it, but if you say you're going to do it, that is not a good thing. If you do it over and over, it's considered bullying. And excluding, how did they phrase that? Excluding someone from a group is also over and over is also considered bullying. So you might not have realized that those are all forms of bullying. So we've got 3 good bullets there. We have a definition. We have what it has to have to be considered bullying, and then some examples. All right, we're going to head back to the article. Pause this video if you need a little extra time to type in your key details, and we're going to head back to the first actual section. All right, this first section is, the header says, what the experts say. So in your mind, you're like, okay, so all the experts are going to be, all their opinions and information are going to be in this section. And you would be right, because I've pre-read this article, and that's exactly what's in this section. So Dr. Ben Michaelis, a doctor is considered an expert. He's a clinical psychologist and visiting scholar at Columbia University. And that's not Columbia, South Carolina. That's a different Columbia. It's very prestigious, like Harvard and Stanford and Yale. So this is a reliable resource. This is someone that you can trust for their expertise. He says that those targeted by bullies tend to have something unique about them. This is especially the case with kids that look different than others. The effects of bullying can last for decades. You know, a decade is 10 years. And the bullying effects can last 10, 20, 30, 40. It could last a person's entire life. Dr. Michaelis says some symptoms he often sees as effects of bullying include increased anxiety, depression, and insomnia. You know, insomnia is not able to sleep well. He urges targets to tell a trusted adult, as bullies have an advantage when their targets remain silent. Telling a trusted adult can help prevent bullying from happening again. Dr. Michaelis also says that schools must set a clear message that bullying will not be tolerated. Dr. Stephen Schultzman, also a clinical psychologist, is an assistant professor at Harvard Medical School. He says that bullying can happen to anyone in any social situation. Bullying online is a big problem. 20 years ago, a prank on a student may go unnoticed by many. Today, however, a prank posted to social media can travel far and wide in a matter of seconds. Schultzman says that the power of social media is something that schools need to be aware of. He explains that bullying and being bullied are both learned behaviors. That's an important fact. Bullying, we're not born as babies learning that we already know how to bully. It's something that we see, that we may even have experienced ourselves, and we copycat, we learn it. So that's an important fact, I think. As they age, kids become more set in their ways. That's why we need to be proactive early. That means we need to stop it before it continues. So let's take a look back at these two text features that were within this section. Some bullying statistics. About 1 in 4 U.S. youth say they have been bullied at school. That's 25%, y'all. That's way too much. We need to get that down to 0. 30% of youth say they have bullied others. Most bullying happens in middle school. More than 70% of youth have seen bullying in their school. More than 70% of school staff have seen bullying at school. And only about 20 to 30% of targets actually tell an adult. We need to increase that number. We need more people to be able to feel comfortable to reach out to get help. And then the second infographic on the back gives some visual examples of what bullying is. Taking someone's things, making fun of someone, threatening someone, telling lies about someone, calling someone names, leaving someone out, and hurting someone. Those are all examples of bullying. That was a lot of information, but basically you're going to be writing the what the experts say. So I would go back to what Dr. Michaelis says and write down 1 or 2 details, and then I would go back to Dr. Schultzman and write down maybe a detail, since that's a shorter paragraph, and then pull something from the infographics, either the statistics or this infographic, because that's a part of the article too. It's not just what's in the sentences. Go ahead and head back to your Cornell notes. You're going to do this one on your own. You are ready to do this on your own. You don't need me to do it for you. Pause the video, and when you're ready, come back for the next section. All right. Moving on to the third section, what the bullies say. Child therapist Natasha Daniels has asked bullies that visit her office important questions. When asked who they pick on, some responses were weird kids, annoying kids, kids who cry easily, wimpy kids, and tattletales. Bullies expressed that they enjoyed seeing others cry. Daniels says these kids have also discussed the reasons they bully. Many of them don't feel good about themselves. Seeing others feel sad makes them feel better about themselves. Some of them struggle to make good grades. Many have stress at home for different reasons. Some may not know how to make friends. A lot of them were actually being bullied as well. Daniels says they want a reaction. They want kids to get upset. They want to see others explode. All right. So if you would go back, and I would at least 2 details from what the bullies say. Add that to your notes here. Pause the video, and then we'll come back for the last section. All right. This last section is what the targets say. Remember, targets are the people that are being bullied. Most targets of bullying have common reactions to being bullied. Too many of them tell no one because they're either embarrassed or worried that the bullying will get worse. They often feel tense and anxious. Many become very depressed, causing them to feel tired, unmotivated, and sad. When it comes to school, their grades may drop, and they may refuse to even go to school. The stress can lead to headaches, skin problems, insomnia, and stomach pains. Other targets of bullying take on the role of the bully to others. And this is what really makes me sad. They become bullies themselves and just continue this cycle. They may bully family members who they feel are weaker than them. Some become violent toward themselves or others. Many school shooters report that they were bullied at their school. Sadly, some may be so affected that they may consider suicide. Bullying targets carry these painful memories for many years and often have trouble overcoming the pain. Adults who were once bullied often have poor confidence later in life, and some may have problems with depression. And then there's one more text feature. An upstander, this is when you see bullying happening and you're not the bully, you're not the target, but you're there. And a bystander is someone who just lets it happen. And to be an upstander, you kind of help to stop the bullying from happening. And these are some ways to do that. I know it can be an uncomfortable situation, but if you're an upstander, you would change the subject. Maybe there's threats going on, or rumors being spread. You could just change the subject. You could interrupt and start talking about something else, which is like changing the subject. You could question the behavior. You could use humor. You could do something funny to distract what's going on. You could embrace differences. You could report bullying to an adult. You could protect and be kind to others, and you could include others. So if you see someone who's being excluded and they're kind of alone, you could invite them maybe to play with you at recess, or if we had seats at the lunch table, you could invite them to the lunch table, or just go say hi to them. So go ahead to your Cornell notes, and I want you to include 2 to 3 details from what the targets say, and you're going to add that. Whoops, wrong thing. You're going to add that to this last section in your notes, and then come back for the final section. All right, remember writing an objective summary. Objective means you don't include your opinion, okay? You're just reporting the facts like a reporter. And to write the topic sentence, we do the name it, verb it, central idea. Remember, the name it, all that is the title of the article. So you're going to put bullying in quotes. Then you're going to pick a verb, and remember, in my room on the whiteboard, there's a chart where there's 9 different verbs you can choose. So pick a verb that you think fits for this article, and then write the central idea. The central idea is, what is the author saying about bullying? Okay, bullying is the topic. You decide what the author is saying about bullying, and that will finish your topic sentence. And then I want you to pick 3 key details that support your topic sentence that you wrote. A good place to start is to look in your own Cornell notes, because you've already pulled out a lot of details in your notes. You can always go back to the article as well. And when you're done with these Cornell notes, go ahead and turn them in, and you are finished with this assignment for today. Good job.